Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day, and today we're going to be discussing limits. So to start off, what exactly is a limit? A limit is the value a function approaches as the input approaches some value. So this is the limit. And today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be teaching you the basics of limits and how to identify them through some examples. So, what exactly does this mean? Let me show you. Let's say that there's a graph. So I'm just going to draw out a graph as an example, just like this. And then we are going to, oh my god, you guys. But yeah, so we're just going to be using this graph. And how exactly do you write limits? So it's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then I could say this is the graph of f of x, all right? So this is f of x. And then I'm going to ask limit of f of, oh, here, that wasn't clear, f of x when x is approaching, here, let me draw it out first. So all right, oh my gosh, so sorry about that. Let me just redo it. All right, and then all right, so I know it's not perfect. Sorry, guys, took me a second, but this is the general idea. So we're just going to say the limit of f of x when x is approaching 2. All right? So how exactly would you solve this? So we would look at the graph. So let's just follow along together. And we can see that as we're following the graph and we're getting closer to this value of 2, as we're getting closer, we're also slowly inching forwards towards -2. Now, at x equals 2, we never truly reach -2 as the y value, just because it is an open circle, so technically it can get to a -1.99999, but it will not get to a -2. But the answer to this question will in fact be -2, because that is the limit that it is approaching. Yes, so it's not at that value, but that's the value that it is approaching. So let me draw out another graph. I'm gonna do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And then I'm just gonna say like that. Oh, so sorry, you guys. Like that, and then that is in fact an open circle. Like that. Alright, so let's just say that this was the graph that we're creating. Alright, and you're saying, we're going to call this one g of x. And in fact, I'm just going to do it in a different color so there's no confusion. This is a completely different graph. We're starting a whole new example, g of x. So limit of g of x equals, and then we're going to say while it's approaching 2. Once again, we're going to use the value of 2. So you're going to do the same thing. You're following this graph around. Yeah, you're just until it's approaching 2. But then you see that from this side, when it approaches 2, the values are different. So when it's approaching 2 from here, you see it approaching the value 1 on the y scale, and when it's going from this side, you see it approaching the value of 2. So what would you put? Well, when this happens, basically, the answer is just does not exist, and that is because does not exist. DNE, alright? That is our abbreviation for does not exist. And that's just because there cannot be two limits. There has to be solely one, and because in this graph there are two, it does not exist. However, what you can do is, let's say the question is asking for a limit of g of x as x is approaching like that. Now, a lot of people would think as x is approaching -2, but that is not the case. That is not what this question is asking. It's asking, what is the limit of 2 when x is approaching 2 from the left-hand side? Because it's a negative. If I had said if there was a plus here, oh my gosh. Oh, sorry. But yeah, just like that. If there was a plus here, it would be saying, if there's a plus, it would be asking for the value that is being reached by the right-hand side. So, but let's just go back and keep it a negative. So as we're approaching it from this negative side, we see that it is approaching the value of 1. So the answer will be 1. And again, the same thing goes for the limit of g of x when x is approaching 2 from the right-hand side. And I think this is pretty easy to remember. The left-hand side of the graph has the negative values, and the right-hand side has the positive values. So when there's a plus, it's asking you to locate the limit coming in from the right, and when there's a negative, it's asking you to locate the limit coming in from the left. Now, take a break for a second and see if you can answer this question. Alright, so if you were able to answer it, that's really good. And the answer would just be, following it in from the right, it is approaching the limit value of 2. So that is all for today. This was the basics of limits that I wanted to cover. The next video will be a quick short video going over the examples. As you can tell, this is kind of a pattern. This is how I format my videos. I give you the basics, and the next video will always be the examples. So make sure you watch the next video to get some more practice, and I hope this video was helpful to you. And yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, all of that stuff. If you have any suggestions of video topics or ideas on how I could improve my videos, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. And thank you guys for watching. I hope this helped. Bye!